branding trans. Everything you do is trans this, trans this, trans this, and as opposed to, I think, a lot of people that I've known in my life have had the desire to pass and haven't wanted to brand. And so I just want to call that out as something that's obviously notable in the way you're doing the work. And just, my guess is along the way there have been conversations about that.
Very intentional every step.
Yeah,
and every staff member needs to be trans or gender nonconforming. Like, just every step has been, and so we've got amazing staff people who, those who would pass very easily, who refuse to be quiet, which is just
it's
lovely.
It's very striking and it's very powerful. I like it. So I just wanted to note it because it's not the way that, in so much of what we talked about, it sounds like you've got something going on that's really special here, but also in this community, and just thinking about what is the cutting edge, and somebody who came out as a lesbian pretty early in life, the different choices in my life I've had about how I wanted to be in the world, and what I wanted people to think, and I know that it's intentional, and I know that the choices that we make can make us smaller or make us bigger, right? And so I just wanted to comment on the fact that it's a very profound thing that I'll take away with me today, is just the fact that this is about being who you are and not having it fit into everybody else's check the box, right?
And I just, for the rest of I just add on that the team that's here, the people that are trans identified that work in these positions, are not just trans,
Yeah.
They are very well suited for every position that they're doing. But also what I find is that other people in the trans community, again, because of this whole issue we're dealing with and because of where it's been and where it's coming, all of us are really uniquely put to hold space for a lot of different challenges. There's a challenge in serving our community when it looks like you made it, or that when you don't share exactly some of the same struggles, or you've come through certain things, or there's a lot of projection and sort of vicarious trauma, a lot of those things going on, and then the fact that we are working within a system as trans people to navigate. There are people who can't have the language to even try to collaborate because those systematic things that trigger certain things, you can't blame them almost in one sense, but in one sense you have to be uniquely skilled to be able to
which
navigate
actually
spaces.
Is the perfect transition to Monica to talk about how is it to recruit, how is it to
tell me about what you do.
Hello everyone, once again, my name is Monica. Here at Chicago House TransLife Center, TransSafe, I am a peer lead. I'm in a peer lead position, and what I do as a peer lead, I am the one that greets our visitors, our drop-ins at the door, and bring them into our space, make them feel comfortable, make them feel that sense of home, make them feel that sense of trust. They can actually be free to be whom they are. They won't be judged, they won't be harmed. And it's just all about nurturing them and just trying to find out where can we meet on a common ground to bring out some of those issues so that we can address them, as well as just keeping a close observation on the vibes throughout the house itself. On a day-to-day basis, it is very challenging for me because I am someone that comes from that life, that circle of people that we are servicing today. I am that girl, I am that trans woman that was kicked out of high school because she identified as trans. I am that girl who identified as a trans woman in the sex trade. I am that woman who identifies as a statistic for the jails and for HIV and AIDS. So I am that girl, and my position here is very interesting because being that I am that girl from that same group of life, they can see me and actually trust and believe in these spaces that are being created for them. Okay, this really can work. Oh, there really is some form of help out there. Because right now the dynamics that are between the L, the G, the B, the T, and the Q is very shady. And the T and the Q really don't have healthy spaces where they can go and be uplifted, where they can go and get resources that can develop them into the trans women or men or maybe non-conforming that they choose or foresee themselves to be. And there's not a lot of places for that, and especially for trans women of color. And what we have out here today is we have a lot of trans people who are identifying on the scene, who are making a showing. But what we have found, the girls who are actually coming from that grimy trench, we have seen and understood that those trans people, trans identifying people that are being visual, that are doing things out there, they're in the go, in the to know field. They are someone who came from pretty much a privileged world, and they're transitioning into the person whom they become today was started early on, and they didn't do that from on the streets, in a shelter, in a group home, prostituting through the means of prostitution. They didn't attain that where they are today through a wholesome style. You know, it was dirty. And so we see these women today that are just like, they come from this world of privilege, and yes, they want us to look up to them and look at them as our role models, but our circumstances are so very different.
And you know what? I think that's a trick, though. I think that's a lot of that is a trick of a system, in the sense that a lot of people are not at liberty to share their challenges and their stories in the midst of like their climbs or whatever and what they're doing. You have people like Janet Mock, who looks beautiful from the outside and looks like a certain thing, but you read her book and see that her parents were on drugs, that she did sex work to save up money for her surgeries. So she's visible now and people see a certain thing. You know, some people are still struggling with substance use, anxiety issues, and some people still do. I know some people in the community that have a certain profile on the outside, but are still involved in sex work. And it's not that they think there's something wrong with it. It's just hard to navigate the system, and when there are certain very hardcore lines, like with sex work or with certain things that people judge you automatically with, you know. So I see a lot of them just trying to then at that point extend their privilege, almost like, okay, if they gained a sense of privilege, sticking their high heel in the door and, you know, and widening that gap. Because even myself, that's why I'm here and working the job that I work. You know, there's a certain perception of what I do, but when the media and the cameras are off, I'll give a more authentic, you know, real experience of what the challenges are. But it's really, and that's why I love this, is that when we're put in positions like this, we can actually share that with one another, where we won't be judged. When my room is closed and I'm meeting with people one-on-one in career situations, let's have some real let's have a real conversation. The mics aren't on, you know.
So your job is in large part to make sure that everybody who comes through this door knows that no matter what they've been through, no matter where they've come from, this is going to be a place that's going to be safe and okay for them?
Yes, pretty much like recruiting. And I do find it challenging for me to recruit these people and offer and promote these resources that we do have available. When I am a full-time student myself, I do have a part-time job, but I am still currently homeless. And so I find that very hard to convey this healthy message that if you be a great follow-upper, if you come and access these resources, you can attain these things in a healthy manner. It's kind of challenging for me to do that, but I do this, and it's just like one of the biggest concerns out there for just trans people, period, is just finding that healthy space, that space where they are safe, that space that they can actually call their own. And for trans women of color, that space is far and few. And for this wonderful place here, it has 9 rooms, so that's only 9 girls out of the 9 million. Mm-hmm. So the rest of them are just out there, and man, any day we can hear of a casualty, or we can hear of a success. And the success is not always what we hear. Mm-hmm. And I guess my job is just like to get out there and just trust and believe in the people whom I work with, my team, my partners, and trust and believe in the work that they do, trust and believe in time. and just continue to push forth these values, because actually it does work. As I said, I am one of those girls that came from the streets, and I'm doing great things today. I am doing great things
So you're
today.
in school, you've
I
got,
am
you've
in
got a
school.
part-time job and this job?
No, just
This
is
is
my
the part-time,
part-time.
okay, that's why,
Yeah.
that sounded like a lot.
And
Full-time
full-time
school.
school. So, and I go to school for paralegal, so I'm doing great things today, things that I never thought I could do, because I never even had a space to even dream of these type of things.
So can I ask where you stay at night?
I'm place to place.
Place to place right now?
Yeah, comfortably, you know,
So what do you hope for?
transition, continue to keep transitioning.
Yeah, keep it moving forward.
Yeah, I don't want to lock myself in a box,
Yeah,
and then that's all I gain, that's all I acquire.
yeah,
So I just want to say continue to transition.
that's good.
That's
Me-
good.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.